Hello everyone, it's time for the belated October and November roundups, which might take a while because there are 9 books. I could, on the other hand it might not, I could include the December ones as well really, because I've only actually read one book and a third of another, but I think it'll take long enough without me going on and on and on and on about the Charioteer, and then saying, well, this other one, hopefully I will finish that before the end of the month. Okay, so what was the first book in October, I hear you ask? This. The Light of Amsterdam. I knew exactly nothing about this book, but I thought, well, can't be too terrible if it's set in Amsterdam. Yeah. I think the problem with this book for me is that I just am insufficiently middle-aged to care about a book which is about middle-aged fears and worrying about being old and your husband not loving you and the problems that you have loving your children even when they do bad things, and not really, not something I especially can relate to, I think. So, on the other hand, if that sounds good to you, because it's also set in Amsterdam, so 100% good for that. The next book is a bit different. It's a serious business book. You can tell it's serious business. Very serious business indeed. It's a sort of general summary of the military career of Alexander the Great. It's quite a introductory kind of a work. It sort of covers the whole span. But given that Alex is one of my favourite people, I even call him Alex, I'm quite happy to read just about any book about him, really, even if it makes me angry. This one did not. Do recommend this book if you're interested in that kind of thing. The next book is one which came out quite a while ago and has a great film. I have not seen the film, and actually I managed to be not spoiled for it, so I was quite happy about that. Yeah, I mean I knew there was a twist at the end, and I began to wonder what that might be, but I was still not expecting what it actually was. So yeah, this was very good. I do recommend this. I presume you all know what it is, and you've probably all seen the film and everything. Yeah. Okay, the next one is, well, it was also one which I very much enjoyed. The problem is that if you don't especially want to read something which is full of hate and anti-Semitism and stuff, it's not for you. But if you can, I mean, you're not meant to like the character who is so appalling and anti-Semitic and everything. So, if you don't mind reading about really terrible, terrible people that you're not meant to like, do read this, because it is otherwise very, very good. I do find Umberto Eco's books a bit sort of hit and miss, depending on how much you already know about them. For me, anyway. But I think this one is sort of sufficiently... Well, it's a sort of... If you know some stuff about conspiracy theories and that, it's pretty entertaining. Or just sort of the 19th century in general. I wouldn't have said that I knew enough about continental Europe in the 19th century, but that's not really what the plot's about anyway, so yeah, I liked it. These are really terrible reviews, I might add, because I've been kind of blackmailed into doing this. Again. The next book is Angela Carter's Book of Fairy Tales. Now, this is another one from my friend Mel, who has amazing taste in books. It's sort of been described as feminist fairy tales, which I don't think I would agree with. I would say it's just fairy tales which are all about women. I mean, I don't know whether that's... I don't know. I just didn't really get the whole feminist fairy tales bit. It didn't seem that way. But it is very enjoyable to read. You know, if you like fairy tales, read this book. It's got some... This particular one has some really good illustrations. Yeah. Right, now the next one that I read, the next one I read was, I finally got around to reading Raising Steam, which I was a bit sort of worried about, because I did not like the last one, Snuff, at all. And it's a real shame, because I absolutely loved Discworld. It was pretty much one of the only things I actually read when I was in my teens. The entire collection, which you can see here, was mostly bought by me. So, yeah, you know, because I mean, my dad also likes it, but he only had 4 or 5 of the books, and then I went and bought all of the rest. So, yeah, I was very disappointed when Snuff turned out to be absolutely shockingly dire. And especially because I really like Vimes. But this one is, well, it's not as good maybe as some of the other ones. But it is at least better than Snuff, which is not saying much, I agree. But, yeah, I would probably reread this, whereas I don't think I will ever touch Snuff, ever, apart from to, you know, put other books on top of it. Yeah. The story of, well, the Discworld is changing, it is modernizing, they now have trains. This is a really bad copy, I shouldn't have recorded it. It's damage. Yeah. I don't know. I do like Discworld. I should probably do something about Discworld or something. But not right now. Right now we come to absolutely one of the worst books I think I've read all year. It is theoretically an academic discussion of the influence and inspiration of the Welsh language on Tolkien's works. Unfortunately, it's not exactly accessible to the general reader, because he goes on, each chapter discusses, which is only, each chapter is only a couple of pages long, and it discusses specific words or specific items, and what's really needed is a general introduction, which says, well, you know, these parts came from here, and this and blah, and how he constructed and things. Yeah. Don't read this book. It's too specific for the general reader, and then if you already know about Welsh and that, it's not really... It's not, you know, it's not anything new if you already are a Celticist, and it's too detailed if you are not a Celticist. So, pretty dire. Again. And it's not even, you know, a thing. Anyway. The final book that I read in November, I actually spent most of November reading this, was Le Roi de Fer by Maurice Druon. And yes, I did read it in French, but it is also available in English, and I also read it in English. It's a series which is set in France in the 1300s, and it's about the royal family of France. And, well, this particular one is about the king's daughters-in-law cheating on his sons. So obviously that can't be allowed. And also it's about the execution of the final Knights Templar, who placed a curse upon the royal family. Very exciting. That's why the series is The Cursed Kings. Yeah, I really quite like this. I'm going to have to go out and buy all of the rest of them. The only thing I would say is that the English translation is a bit odd compared to the French, and I can't tell whether this is because it's been translated a bit badly or because it's based off the first French edition, which has then been, on the basis of this, quite significantly revised. And this was based on the second French edition, obviously. So, yeah, I think they could have done with updating the English translation if that is the problem, because they've recently reissued it, as you can see from the quote by George R.R. Martin there at the top. He seems to have been behind this, which is not a bad thing. It's very, very good to get a chance to read some good historical fiction, because, yeah, I've read some bad stuff as well lately, you know, all that Philippa Gregory. Yeah, I suppose next video will be an awful lot of me talking about The Charioteer, and then maybe some other books. I think I'll have to wait until the end of January again to do it, because otherwise, if I do it in a couple of days, it can be, well, yes, here's 2 books. In theory, I will get some more read. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my shelf of books to read at the moment. They're sort of up there, up the staircase. Special shelf for them. Yeah. So yeah, do let me know if you have any comments on this, specifically about the Charioteer. Tell me about the Charioteer. Yes. I'm quite looking forward to hearing about everything that everybody likes about it. Have some tea as well. Yeah. I haven't edited this video. Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone, and etc. Nollet Gennel is what we say over here.